Now, welcome to another News from Naboo Weekend Ramble edition. Where this time, what's our topic today?
Tabletop games.
Tabletop games. Awesome.
Games. So, we're going to kind of talk about Asmodee Games announces that they're going to have gaming celebrations at Star Wars Celebration. They are a publisher of board games, card games, and role-playing games, and they're bringing something different to the celebration this year. I mean, they're hosting a booth where you actually have a chance to play up to 9 different games they're going to be running. They're going to be running game sessions Friday through Sunday. So I'm like, that's cool.
Very cool.
Yeah. So I'm going to go over what each of the games is, kind of a premise, and we can kind of discuss it, and at the end we'll talk more about games.
Well, sure.
All right, so first game they're going to have available is called Star Wars Outer Rim plus Unfinished Business Expansion. You play as a smuggler in the Outer Rim and steal all the loot you can, but watch out, draw too much attention, and your bounty will go up, and it will draw hunters from across the galaxy.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, I mean, you're not playing as a Jedi, it's always...
What's wrong with playing as a Jedi, you Sith?
Nothing.
Yeah, you're a Sith in hiding. You're like Emperor Palpatine. Nobody would suspect until it's too late.
All right, next game, Love Letter, Jabba's Palace.
Love Letter, Jabba's Palace? Okay.
Love Letter, Jabba's Palace. Using Star Wars characters, deceive and outwit other players to win Jabba's favor. Collect cards and lay traps to get other players out of the game.
To get them eaten by a Rancor? Is that what happens to them?
Sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
Right into the pit?
I think this game actually sounds like a lot of fun.
Is it just like a small kind of like card game kind of thing? Or what is it?
Well, you're using Star Wars characters. Yeah, it is a card game, so you'll be playing cards against each other to see who is going to be the one. Who will be the one who wins Jabba's favor while you pretty much...
Jabba's love, I thought, but okay.
Well, sure. And to throw them all, overboard. I think that sounds fun.
Overboard, yeah. Into the pit.
Into the pit. Next game, Unlock Star Wars. Play as a group of smugglers and escape as an Imperial Star Destroyer. Work together to outrun the Empire and deliver your stolen goods to Jabba the Hutt.
Well, Jabba has a lot of games.
Like Jabba again.
Goodness gracious.
I just think it sounds fun because it's cooperative. You're playing as a group of smugglers.
Yeah.
As you're trying to escape.
Earn Jabba's favor, earn his love, go get him some stuff. Yeah, it's all about Jabba.
The next game's kind of simple. It's Spot It. Star Wars, Mandalorian. You kind of look at 2 cards, find the shared symbol to win points. It's kind of like a card matching game.
Okay.
Which is still a tabletop game.
Sure.
It's the memory game.
Yeah.
We played that all the time as kids. I love the memory
Everybody
game.
knows the memory game. Everybody plays that.
Because it's fun. Next, Star Wars Story Cubes. Use dice and story cards to create your own Star Wars stories.
Sounds kind of like the Destiny game?
No, that one's like a fighting game. This is where you're telling a story, but you have to roll cubes.
Is it like a funny game where you
have to include
put the weird words in there,
yeah.
like name a verb or
like when people
pick a noun.
play complete the story and it's like, here's my part, now your turn, and it gets fun. Star Wars Legion. Launch into your favorite Star Wars battles with iconic characters running around the battlefield. Lead your troops to victory in treacherous conditions to win the war against the Empire. This is actually a harder core game, I think.
Isn't this one the one already out there? Or am I wrong? Or is that called Armada?
The Armada is a game, but Legion's a different game.
Legion is the more ground-based and Armada is the space-based one, right?
I think you're right. Yeah.
I think I am right. Yeah. Yay me.
Yay. Next is Star Wars X-Wing. Support the Resistance in your own X-Wing. Upgrade your ship and support the army to escape the Empire's clutches.
Is it a card game or what is it?
It's a game.
Just a game? All right. Like a board game?
We also have Star Wars Rebellion. Play as the Empire or Rebel Alliance as you try to win. You go on secret missions.
As you try to win. It's a good
description.
Go
on secret missions as you experience the Star Wars universe like your favorite heroes or villains.
Is this I think maybe I'm thinking of Rebellion. I know there's one game that's been around for a while and you kind of have the miniatures, maybe kind of Warhammer-ish style. With the collecting the miniatures and stuff.
The last game is Star Wars Imperial Assault. The Death Star is destroyed, but the battle is far from over. Play as the Empire or Resistance to end the war. I like that the games are pretty, a variety. Obviously, you've got card-based games, you've got regular board games. Some of these are definitely role-playing games. I feel like nowadays, don't get me wrong, I love video games, but I feel like nowadays you're missing something when you don't gather around and play a game together with people in person.
I agree entirely. As someone who grew up with loving D&D from around the age of 11 or 12, we started playing it and has played with the same group of friends for 30 years at this point.
Yeah, and I have...
And are playing tomorrow. I mean, today, I guess, when this video will be posted.
I mean, I have 3 siblings. We used to play board games together all the time. Heck, when my parents still want to play board games with us because we played them so often. Now they've got, like, collector's edition of Scrabble and Risk because we beat the heck out of some of the games we used to have, but we loved playing board games together.
Yeah, we played board games a lot when I was young as well.
I have a shelf of board games over there because I love the getting together, playing with people in person, and it's a special, unique experience.
No, I agree entirely, and I think it's one that not enough people... I mean, so many people, like, you know, they get addicted to games online. They never actually see another human being playing. You know, I think one of the things with MMOs, why they first got popular, is because the idea of being able to play with people online and interact with people. And I think one of the reasons why, you know, MMOs, I wouldn't say they're not popular anymore, but one of the reasons why it's so hard to kind of... why we're always waiting for that next big MMO for people who are into that sort of thing is it's not a really unique experience anymore, is it? Just playing games online with people. Mm-hmm. I think it has lost something, and I think that's why we...
Well, and you play these games online with people, but half the time they're just wanting solo content anyway.
Yeah, that's the strange thing. Like, if you play a World of Warcraft these days, I mean, when that game first came out in 2004, that's when I started playing it. I played it when it first came out. I was playing Star Wars Galaxies at the time, and switched over to Warcraft because everybody I knew was playing Warcraft, and you know, one of my problems in my whole life is no one ever wants to play Star Wars games with me. But anyway, so we were all playing Warcraft. I mean, it was more the appeal was actually playing with other people, right. More so than, I mean, the game itself was fantastic back then. It's still, well, it is what it is today. But you know, it was such this novelty idea of talking to people and playing kind of a role playing game with them and playing a game with them, and it's so strange playing most MMOs or most games nowadays where it's the opposite, where no one really wants to talk to anybody anymore in these games, or
when you ask them to do content as groups, they're like, "Are you kidding?
Yeah,
that's not fair."
People are upset that you get forced to play with other people in an MMO where the point of the game is, well, I mean, the point of the game can be whatever you want it to be, I suppose, but right. One of the points is
what's the point of having all those other people if you don't want to play with any of them?
Yeah, and there is nothing... I've never played an MMO. I've played a lot of great MMOs, you know, in my life, but I've never played one that can just duplicate, you know, that Sunday afternoon with my friends around a table, or just that same kind of, you know, and I think that's a lot of people are... Even though D&D is resurging these days and it's become more popular, I see so many people playing online and don't have people to play with, and that's kind of just a sad thing, because I've played D&D online a couple times, and no offense to anybody I've played with a handful of times, but it's not the same thing. There's something missing there.
It can't be exactly the same. I mean, you can't see anyone else's facial expressions when they're saying stuff to you. You can hear them. I mean, with all the advances we've made with things like Discord and Line and... Yeah,
you can... Well, sometimes you can see people, but it's just... There's still this wall or barrier in the way that you don't have when you're all gathered around one table, and, you know, I don't know. It's... You know, it's a strange thing for someone like me who grew up in a world where there was no internet. You know, I remember the day, you know, the idea of the internet would have blew my mind when I was a kid, that I could talk to people or play games online or on my phone. You know, phones back then were little rotary things, you know, had a little dial, and that was about it, you know. So it's so strange for me just to see the difference, you know. Like, I grew up playing D&D with my friends, and video games were a thing, but we never really played much in terms of video games back then. We wanted to get together and actually play together. Exactly. And even when we did play video games, it was about getting together. I didn't really play video games.
Yeah, let's come over to my house. I've got 2-player, and let's play together.
Yeah, let's play some Street Fighter or some Mortal Kombat.
It's just something special about playing with people in person. I mean, let's face it. I mean, the pandemic pushed everyone apart, and maybe that's part of the reason for these resurgence of games is we just crave coming back together. We're humans. We crave
cats who
being
do
together.
Bad things and make noises during videos, yeah. But no, I agree entirely. In this, I don't even want to say it, but in a weird sort of way, I think the pandemic did remind a lot of people that it's good to have human contact. It's good to pay attention to the people around you, to actually get together with your friends. I think we take that for granted, that we live in this world where you can just reach out to people, and you kind of miss the actual human interaction.
Right. I mean, that's one reason we started playing that card game we play.
We started playing the game Flesh and Blood.
I love that game.
Because, I mean, we've both played Magic: The Gathering. You know, I played it originally when it first came out, and I played it on and off for a few years, and I hadn't played it in probably 15 years at this point.
Magic isn't rated for 16 plus.
Well, actually, I think it's 13 plus these days. I don't remember what it is, but I mean, but that was so much fun, because when I first started to play Magic, for example, it was just me and my friends, and then we found some other people, and we would just play all night, and there was no tournaments, it was just a game you played, and that was kind of what drew me to the game Flesh and Blood. is it's kind of the same kind of premise. It's, yes, there are tournaments, and we've gone to some, and we're going to some because we've really gotten into the game. Mm-hmm. But it's, just the premise of getting together with people and playing a game and having fun.
Right. And it's such a great environment. You get to meet new people. You visit places you didn't. I mean, we've traveled a little bit for the game,
Yeah.
Not just the local game store, but we've head out a little bit to some farther out game stores. We've met really cool people there.
Yeah.
And it's a nice way to connect to people. I mean, you think card games, you think competition, but it's a really nice way to connect with people who obviously have a shared interest with you at the very very groundwork.
That's what's cool about it. I mean, when I played Magic back in the day and it got a little more competitive, there are people I still know and talk to today because I met them at a Magic tournament, and we had, you immediately have something in common with this other person, something to talk about, which is probably the hardest part about trying to make friends, especially when you're an adult. It's hard to make friends when you're an adult because, like, what do you have in common with this random person you're running into? And then there's always that weirdness, like, are you trying to be friends with me? Like, adults don't generally, go out and make friends anymore.
No,
so it's kind of cool
hard.
when you
make friends with the people you work with, and sometimes you go out and meet their friends. But
no, I would love to see a resurgence of like the local game store where people can get a place to go and play any type of games, be it the card game like Flesh and Blood or
our
D&D.
Local game store has just board games sitting there that you can come in and you can play. Yeah, I mean, I would encourage people to play games, even if you just start by playing, sitting around and playing a board game with your family once a month. I mean, you start doing it once, and it just builds so much. It builds your bonding. It's really a nice time to get together and talk. I mean, it's such a busy world and busy lives we all lead. When I was a kid, my family, we ate dinner together every single night. That was like a rule. Every night we ate dinner together as a family, and we talked. Let's get back to talking.
Yeah, I agree. Let's get back to doing things. Doing things with your friend. I see. It's so strange whenever, and look, I don't want to be that guy who's like, oh, my generation is better than the new generation. But it's always so strange when you see like friends out together, like younger people, teenagers or whatever they might be, 20-somethings or even younger sometimes. And they're walking down the street together, or they're sitting somewhere together, or they're out for lunch, and they're both on their phones, not even like talking to each other. That is the most baffling thing I ever see.
And so that's really, I guess, what the Ramble's turning into today.
I would
bring people together in person, and let's talk, go do something together, share interests, play a game.
Yeah, we've
wanted
fun. I mean, part of the point of this channel, was to talk more about playing games, not just video games. I mean, we love video games. We're not trying to say, oh, video games are bad. No, we play video games. We love video games.
Don't get us wrong.
Yeah, but another thing I wanted to do with this channel was talk more about different types of games. And this channel's kind of become its own beast, but we have, not that we'd want to start another channel, but we do want to talk more about games because we have gotten very much into Flesh and Blood, and we love playing D&D. You've really just started playing D&D and are absolutely loving it, probably because I'm the DM, but we would like to talk more about these things. So if you've made it this far in this video, us rambling about this, maybe we would consider doing more videos about games besides, video games and Star Wars. So do still want to do that as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind devoting one day a week to talking about Flesh and Blood.
I know, we love this game.
Sharing the lore with everybody.
Sharing
what makes us love this game, and maybe you'll want to look into it too.
I have never been so quickly addicted to a game in my life. And this is coming from someone who, like I said, I played Magic back in the day. We got into it, I started playing when Unlimited and Revised were out, and I mean, way back in the early days, if you even know what that is, if you've played Magic. And I got into I tried to get into the Star Wars trading card game as well when that came out a few years later, but could never find people to play with, which is unfortunate. But no, I've never had a game that just grabbed me quite like this one has. All right, well, I guess that's all we've got for you this time. If you made it to the end of the video, that means maybe you would be more interested in us, or would be interested in us talking about some games from time to time. So let us know that in the comments below, or tell us how you feel about games. Do you think it's something that needs to be come back more? Or do you think it is more popular than we maybe realize? Whatever the case may be, leave your comments below. Let's talk some Star Wars or games. And until next time, thanks for watching.